let's talk about something that's, both painful and really confusing for so many of us in long-term relationships. Why does it happen? Why do partners who were once so close suddenly go cold? We're going to get into the real reason this happens, and I promise you, it is probably not what you think.
I mean, it's a terrifying question, isn't it? This fear that all the passion, the connection, the intimacy you share with someone is somehow just destined to fade away. That no matter what you do, love just kind of runs out of steam.
Now, this fear doesn't come out of nowhere. It's fueled by this really common, really powerful story we all tell ourselves about how relationships work. We're going to call it the fading passion myth. And it's this idea that, getting bored in love is pretty much inevitable. This just sounds right, doesn't it? We hear it all the time. The honeymoon phase ends, reality kicks in, and, eventually you just get bored with each other. It's almost presented as this natural, unavoidable part of being in a committed relationship. Okay, but what if that whole narrative is just wrong? What if we've been misunderstanding this whole thing? What if boredom isn't the actual disease, but it's really just a symptom of something way deeper going on?
And right here, this is the core idea we're digging into. The reason we pull away, the reason things go cold, isn't because the excitement is just gone. It's because, on some level, we are hurt.
So this is the crucial point. That feeling of disinterest, that emotional distance, it's actually a defense mechanism. It's like a protective shell we build around ourselves. We're not bored, we are coping. We're trying to manage all this unexpressed pain or anger, or maybe even fear that we just haven't been able to talk about.
So to really get why we build these walls, we have to look at the specific part of us that's getting wounded. Let's talk about this really powerful concept called the vulnerable, loving self.
The loving self is pretty much exactly what it sounds like. It's that open, trusting, super affectionate part of who we are. It's the part of us that actually falls in love, the part that craves connection, and the part that feels everything so deeply. It's really the engine of the whole relationship.
And here is the most important piece of the puzzle. We might walk around in our daily lives as these capable, resilient adults, but the part of us that truly loves, it's described as a highly vulnerable, childlike entity. Just think about that for a second. It's delicate, it's incredibly sensitive, and it gets wounded really, really easily.
So what are these wounds we're talking about? Well, they aren't always some big, dramatic betrayal. Actually, more often, they're these tiny, everyday slights. Things like, a dismissive tone of voice, or a moment of impatience. Maybe a small favor you did that just goes completely unnoticed. On its own, each one seems so trivial, almost petty, right? But to our vulnerable, loving self, they feel like tiny little paper cuts. And when these tiny cuts happen over and over and over again, and we don't say anything because who wants to seem childish or start a fight over something so small, that vulnerable, loving self does the only thing it knows how to do. It retreats. It pulls back to protect itself, building a wall, brick by tiny, unspoken brick. And that retreat, from the outside, looks exactly like boredom.
So if the problem is this buildup of unspoken hurts, then the solution has to be creating a space where they can finally be heard. And that brings us to the path forward, creating what we can call a forum for healing. So the solution is this kind of structured, safe conversation. First, you both have to agree to listen without jumping to judgment. Step 2, in this safe space, you can finally bring up those minor hurts without being afraid you'll sound ridiculous. And third, the goal is to acknowledge the pain, no matter how small it seems, and to forgive each other, to really, consciously let it all go.
The whole point here is actually pretty simple but profound. It's emotional maintenance. It's like cleaning out the gutters. You're clearing out all the little grievances before they can stack up and turn into a massive, isolating wall between the two of you.
And this is really the key takeaway from all of this. It's a complete reframing of what going cold actually means. It is not the end of love. It is not a sign that you've failed. It is a distress signal. It's a message from that vulnerable, childlike part of ourselves that is basically screaming, "I'm in pain and I desperately need you to hear me." And that leaves us with one final, and I think really powerful question to think about. A question you can ask yourself not just about your partner, but about all the important relationships in your life. What tiny hurt that you've been holding on to really needs a voice today?